Good evening and thanks for joining us. As parts of the country continue to lift public health restrictions and more people begin to gather in shops and on public transit, there is new guidance tonight from Canada's Chief Public Health Officer about masks. Dr. Theresa Tam now recommends wearing a non-medical mask in situations where physical distancing is not possible.
When we got more evidence about asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic individuals, and that although we don't fully understand their role in transmission, it is an added layer of protection, even for people who don't have symptoms, to wear a mask to prevent transmission to others.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took the advice today, wearing a mask as he was driven to Parliament Hill for an in-person sitting of the House of Commons. Non-medical masks are recommended, not mandatory, as a way of protecting others from you. Public health officials stress they are not a substitute for hand washing and physical distancing, which are still the best ways to protect yourself from infection. And though restrictions are beginning to ease, the virus has not gone away. It's still out there, and a second wave of infections is possible. Some say even likely, even in places like Nova Scotia, which reported only one new case today.
I heard lots of people saying, oh, the pandemic's over. Wave one is coming to an end. That's very different than the pandemic is over. So it's important that we continue to follow the public health rules, even as we enter the recovery phase.
Reopening the economy means many people are going back to work. And if you have young children with no childcare or school to send them to, it is a tricky juggling act. Couteur reports.
Okay, go.
As provinces try to get their economies back up and flying again, many parents like Sharif Mahmoud face the childcare conundrum. He's expected to be at the office at least a few days a week, but schools and daycares are still closed.
I might have to go to the office sometimes, and then my wife would watch the kids, and then alternatively, like, she might have to go to the office or have meetings, and then I would stay home with the kids and work from home.
Can you show me which one?
But not everyone has that flexibility, and it's exposing the importance of childcare in this country. Global News has confirmed Social Development Minister Ahmed Hussein is looking at ways of providing provinces with more money for childcare on an annual basis. The Prime Minister noted it was a campaign promise and is now more pressing because of the pandemic.
We made more commitments on childcare, of working with the provinces to invest in programs that will help more parents, more families, and grow our economies and our communities. We need to continue to do that, particularly right now, and we will be there to work with the provinces as we reopen and respond to childcare needs.
The penny has dropped for a lot of people who weren't paying enough attention.
Childcare policy expert Dr. Susan Prentice says now that politicians are paying attention, Canada needs to create a national childcare system, something the Royal Commission on the Status of Women recommended 50 years ago.
If I can be blunt, it's mainly men doing decision-making. And I think that that's a long history of politicians thinking childcare is just a private family responsibility.
Without the return of childcare in most provinces, families are on their own to juggle their jobs and their children. And many parents say it's difficult to look too far down the road without knowing who will care for their kids.
Right now, without those support resources, it's almost impossible for parents to return to the office full time.
Start again like we did last.
Something governments need to consider as they attempt to relaunch their economies. Couteur, Global News, Ottawa.
There's so much information surrounding coronavirus out there now. We know you have questions. Email your questions at globalnews.ca. Tune in to Global National or go to globalnews.ca/coronavirus now to find the answers.